y'all, I'm Angie. Welcome to my channel where I do stuff. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. So I know it's been a while and I apologize, but your girl needed a break. There was so much stuff going on all at once. I was a little overwhelmed. It's all taken care of now. And I am so happy to be sitting here with you today. Today's video is going to be about the rocks that I found when I took my trip to Mexico recently. I was there for a race. If you haven't seen those videos, then you'll want to check them out. You can find the playlist up here. I wasn't able to completely identify everything. I was also not able to find the resources for the geology of Mexico the same way that I would for, say, the United States geology. If you know anything about that, where I might be able to find it, or if you would like to help me identify something that you see in today's video, leave me a comment below. I always learn from y'all and I appreciate all of y'all's input. But before things get any longer, let's get into it. So like always, I'm going to take all of these rocks and wash them out in my dollar store strainer, and then we'll move on to identifying and other stuff after that. This is one of the rocks I picked up in one of those shorts videos when we broke down, got picked up by a van with a trailer, and then the van broke down. It was a temporary breakdown. I would like to cut this one into slabs, I think. I don't know, I haven't really decided yet, but it's just a really pretty rock. This is absolutely stunning, and I might not be accurate when I say this. I believe they call this Mexican onyx. It's not even close to being onyx, but I think this is the same material they use to make like some of the bookends and things like that that you may have seen around. Especially like in the 50s and 60s. But just some of the lines in here, the different pieces in here are just, it's an absolutely gorgeous piece. And it did not even, I had no idea it was this beautiful when I picked it up, because it was just completely covered in dust. I could see a little bit of shininess from some of the crystals, so I picked it up. Once I washed it off, I was just completely blown away at really how beautiful this piece is. Not entirely sure what this is either. It has some properties of like quartz and chalcedony and stuff. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this would probably look good either tumbled or cut. But if you look, you can see some banding right here. Anyway, just a really cool piece that I picked up, and I wish I could remember exactly where it came from. Okay, so this next group is what I call my barbecue rocks, because they smell like a burned out barbecue. But this came from the side of the road where there'd been a grass fire, and you can smell it. My entire kitchen smells like it. This is clearly some form of agate or chalcedony sort of thing. It's really kind of hard to tell with this camera, but there is some depth that you can see with this. So like you can see that there's layers under the surface here. So I'd like to cut that or tumble it and see how that turns out. And this next one is very bulbous. Again, this came from the side of the road where there was the fire as well. Not entirely sure what this is, but you can see there is some banding right there. And I saw some more. That's kind of agate-y looking. So I really want to cut this open as well. I don't know how much of it contains anything, because you can see this is very craggy right here. But yeah, I would like to see what's inside, because I have a feeling that the fire changed its color. Now here's another one, and this one doesn't really have anything to see except you can see some striations on it. I would have to cut this open to see if there's any sort of gemmy properties to it. But with these rocks just sitting in a bowl of water before I pull them out to show you, the water has now turned brown just from these rocks sitting in it. So I think I'm gonna put them back in and like let them soak overnight and see what happens. But I wish you could smell this. It's just such an interesting odor. Now, this is another one that came from the same place, and I think that is incredibly interesting. Got a vein of something running through it, and clearly there are these little nodule things inside, so I think I want to cut or tumble this one as well. And here's another one, very bubbly. I love the lines that you can see in it, and it's very dog hair. Of course there's dog hair on my wet fingers. It's got some agate-y properties right there. Again, I think the fire drastically changed how this piece looks. So I would love to see what this looks like once I get it tumbled. And this is the last piece from the fire, but I don't know how much of this is just rock and how much of it might have something sort of gemmy on the inside. If you look here, you can kind of see some banding right there. And this goes all the way around in this area. This part, if you look at it closely, you can see that there's some depth to it. It's very pretty. So I'd like to cut this open and then see if I can cut it down to a part where I might be able to tumble it a little. But you can see it's kind of bubbly, botryoidal, very pretty. If you're enjoying today's video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up because it really does help support the channel. Okay, so these pieces came from day one. If you watched my video, then before we started racing on that day, before we broke, this was at the starting line. We had a delay, and so we were all out of the cars, and I found these there. And these are very reminiscent of the agates that I picked up in the Black Gap area of Big Bend. That is not in the park. Don't get all upset with me. I did not pick up agates out of a national park. But these cleaned up really nice. I didn't know how pretty they were, but until I washed them. But I love the lines on this. Very, very pretty. Especially considering I had no intention of finding any of this stuff when I was out of the car. This one isn't very big, but this shows so much depth, especially when it's wet. I already got rid of the bowl of water, but this is very, very translucent. Day two, when we broke. And if you watched some of the the shorts videos from when we were getting loaded onto the trailer that the van had, this came from that driveway where we got loaded. And in general, it's a copper canyon area. I do not believe this is actually copper, but I think that's where the name came from. However, I do think that they actually mine copper there. So that's kind of an interesting thing, but I don't think these are copper pieces in here at all. I tried talking to some of the locals about it, and I think there was either a language barrier or they just didn't really know. You can see the pieces up here. Okay, so these were picked up between Chihuahua and Koyame. I do not know anything about these rocks, obviously, but there is this, I wish it was picking up. It's so green. It is so like Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer green. And there's like that one layer, and then, you know, there's like crystals underneath it. And that's not showing up either, unfortunately. But I don't know what I'm looking at here. If any of y'all have a clue what this could be, I've got a whole bunch of little examples over here, but if you have any idea after looking at them what it might be, please help a girl out. But it almost seems like there's like this hard shell, and then there's like this sort of purpley, pink, red sort of hard. I mean, it looks like it's dried mud, but it's rock. So weird. And all of this is like almost druzy. I just wish you could tell. That's like a tiny little geode with the same like hard outer coating. This is really hard to hold. But I just can't figure it out. I don't know enough about the area. And honestly, I just don't think I know enough about rocks in general now that I, am faced with having to learn about it. I have some streak plates, and I mean, I've got information I can use to try to figure this stuff out, but I found that oftentimes fellow viewers and YouTubers are like a wonderful source of information. This has a really cool sheen on it. I mean, they all do. And then, I don't know how well you can tell, but this is a really good cross section of what these other ones look like as well. And that you can see the hard outer surface, and then there's like a layer of crystals, and then there's like the center, like I said, it looks like dried mud, but it's rock. And then this is one that is just all crystal with the piece there. Here's another one. And I thought this was just like a geode when I saw it on the ground. But this is all just roadside, I mean, this was all picked up within, I don't know, 1.5 meters of the road. I love this one because of all the lines on it. And it just looks otherworldly to me, But all of this is a very fine layer of that hunter green sort of druzy. Super, super fine crystals. And then one more that's a little tiny geode looking guy.
Well, y'all, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did, then I hope you'll consider subscribing, because I would love to see you back here next week when I do more stuff. Bye.
If I can get some thin slabs out of it. Every time.